Good morning, quilty friends. This is Jackie Erickson from the Stitchin Post. Today's video is going to be on a postcard, but it's a special postcard. We have an eclipse coming up April 8th, 2024, so it's just 4 months away. And so I've designed a postcard to commemorate the eclipse. So here's the postcard. And this is a map that I got off the internet, and that is the map of the pathway that the sun's going to take, the sun and the moon, for the totality. And the little lines in here, that's where it's total. If you're outside those lines, you're not going to see anything. We'll talk about it a little bit later. So I actually did a postcard for 2017 when we had an eclipse that came through Sisters, and Sisters was in totality. But I went out to Camp Sherman, and I designed a postcard for out there. And the postmistress at the post office at that time in Camp Sherman hand stamped every one of the postcards on the day of the eclipse. It was very, very cool. So I wanted to, there's 14 states that the eclipse will travel through. Originally, I was going to do 14 different postcards, but that didn't work. So I thought I'll do one that will cover all of the states. And that's what I came up with this one. So the equipment that I'm working with, this is a micro Pigma pen. This is a size 8, and that is how I got the little black lines on here, okay? Very important, and you can use a Sharpie, but it kind of runs. I did that on these ones, and you can see where it ran a little bit. It is permanent, but it wasn't as smooth. When I drew on there, it wasn't very smooth, so I wanted something smooth. Then I tried another pen. I can't remember what it was, and again, it had some issues, but the Pigma pen did great, so we'll use that in a bit. So to get started, you'll need some Fastifuse, and I have some pre-cut Fastifuse that I cut 6 inches by 4 inches. It has fusible webbing on both sides of it. That's what Fastifuse is. Both sides have fusing on it. You will use both sides fusing, but we're actually adding a piece on top of this, so you'll actually need some extra Wonder Under or some kind of fusible web. So that's paper on one side and a webbing on the other side. You will need this. So you'll need 2 pieces of fabric, actually 3. I use black for my moon. The moon goes between the earth and the sun, and that's what causes the solar eclipse. It's actually very, very fast. The whole thing is over and done within 20 minutes. So you need to be where you're going to be to watch this and stay put, but not for very long. So you need black for your moon. I used a darker blue batik because I liked the background better. I could have put Canada above here and Mexico below there, but I didn't. I just did the United States. So I picked a green that I thought kind of looked like going across the country. Has a lot of movement in it. And it might take you a little bit to find the actual piece of fabric that you like. It's kind of dark on dark, medium on medium, but I don't care. I actually like this. And if you're a painter, you could actually paint in the Cascades and the Rockies and maybe paint some little Everglades in there. Totally up to you. I'm not a painter. So this is what I did. So to start, you'll cut your little Fastifuses down to 6 by 4 inches. And then I cut my backgrounds, or the first piece here, the blue, I actually cut it 6 by 4 inches. But I am going to take this blue and I am going to cut, I'm going to take my little ruler here. I'm just going to cut a piece off that's about 4 inches. All right. Now, this is the straight edge here, so I'm going to cut that 4 inches across, and it'll fit on top of the postcard perfect. Okay, and then 6 inches this way. This is a 6.5 inch ruler, so I'm not going to put that 1/2 inch on there. All right, so my iron's on, so we're ready to go here. So I take a piece of Fastifuse. I'm using an applique pressing sheet right here. And what this does is if I was to, I'll show you. Okay, if some of my fusible web got off, I'm going to put this here. So that I'm going to leave there. No, oh, don't put your iron on that like I just did because it'll melt it to it. All right, lay this on top. I'm going to show you a mistake at the same time. If this isn't on there perfect, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, press it on there. We've used up the fusible side on this now. Now, see that piece there? I'm just gonna, this is paper side up. I'm just gonna press it on here. So if I had any web that got off onto my pressing sheet, this is what's so cool about it. This, when you pull it off, the stickiest, oh, my sticky came off. But sometimes it'll be left behind on here, and then you can just rub it right off. It comes, it's, there, see there's some pieces there. I can just rub them off. That's the cool thing about this. It doesn't stick to it. So I highly recommend an applique pressing sheet to protect your iron and to protect your pressing board, because you can always put something in here and cover it like that and press it. So if you have fusible, you think it's going to get on your iron. That's just an added tip. Okay, so that's how we get the foundation on. But we've used the fusing up. So now, in order to get the little United States to go on here, I have to get a fusible on the back of it. Oh, this is the pattern that you can pick up online, and it's a free download. It has the United States, the correct direction, and reverse. You will use the reverse one when we're actually drawing this out, okay, tracing it. So I thought it was important to have both. It makes it easier for you. Oh, look, I have some drawn out. So here's some already drawn out on my FastaFuse. Remember, draw on the paper side, not the fusible side. So I traced this one. And Paige cleaned it up so it doesn't look the same as the one that I had originally done, which is a good thing she cleaned it up because mine was pretty messy. So now when I fuse it onto my fabric, which is this, it's batik. There is a wrong side and a right side. I don't know if you can tell the difference here. This is the wrong side, and this is the right side. You can use whatever side you want. I believe on this one I used the wrong side. So you want to press it onto the side that you don't want to see, okay? So this is the back of my batik. This is what I'm going to press it onto. And I kind of look for something that might look mountainy in here. And because I know we have mountains on the West Coast, I'm going to set it on here so that I might have some white show up in here, pretend they're the Cascades. And then just press it on. And you should press it for 5-6 seconds so that it hears. Okay, take it off, let it cool off, and then you can just cut around the outside of it. Just outside the paper, okay? I'm not gonna cut the United States out because it takes too long. But now, and I'm gonna test this to try and make it cool off. See if that fusible is sticking to it. It probably is. Come on. It is. If I pull the paper back, the fusible's right there on there. Okay, so I know that's going to work. Now, I had already cut one out, and you can't tell, but the fusing is on the wrong side here of the United States. Now I'm going to put it on here. So I cut it out, and I pulled it off. So now you have to figure out where you want to put. And I did experiments with it. On these guys here, I had my United States. Actually, this is almost the same. This is the one I'm going to go with. I'm going to move my moon down a little bit, my sun down a little bit. You got to figure out where you want to put it. So your little edge you're going to put on here to finish your postcard, you want to make sure it doesn't cut, it doesn't go into your, which it did over here, go into your Eclipse. So up to you where you want to put it. I'm going to lay it on here. And then, oh, I know. I was drawing the names of where I'm going to be in Indianapolis. And Indianapolis is going to be in totality. So I was drawing where you have to figure out where your city is in here. I'm not going to do that for you. So, but this map kind of helps. You can find your state anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. I'm going to move it down a little bit because I want a little bit more room for my sun up on top. And I don't think Texas will get caught in my seam. Okay. And then just up and down. Don't scoot across on this. If you scoot across, you might push everything. So up and down. All right, that's probably all you need. Okay, now the back side still got the fusing on it. But now this is on here. Now I'm going to do my sun and my moon. So you got to decide what size you want. So I took out a penny, a nickel, and a dime to see which one worked for me. I actually used the penny on these guys because I liked it. But I'm thinking I might have to go, and then I thought the nickel was too big. Nickel's great if you have room for it. You can put your sun down here if you want, but I want it above my United States, so not below it. So I'm going to try and go with a dime. And to get my dime, I just set it on the paper, use a mechanical pencil. Oh, I use a mechanical pencil when you're tracing your United States, because the tip will always be the same size and it won't get flat or it might break, but you can go back. But it's easier with a mechanical pencil because the other pencils, the leads kind of get fat. I'll just draw around it. I'm going to do a couple. And now I'm going to fuse these onto my black. We're about ready to get to the fun part. It's black solid. Doesn't matter what side you put it on. And now if that was hanging off the edge, I'd be able to pull it up off it wouldn't mess up my ironing board. Okay, it's probably good enough. And while this is cooling off, just cut it off. That's cooling off. I'm going to paint my moon, sun, moon, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I'm going to put the dime right on here, okay? And I'm going to draw around it. I'm going to see if the pencils show up. If it doesn't show up, we'll use, it's not showing up. Okay, oh yeah, it is. It is. Okay, here's the fun part. So you need to get the little eclipse, the little white behind the moon, the sun's coming around that eclipse. I tried everything. My favorite, when I tried it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was, I tried every white pen out there. Nothing really worked. Then I found a white crayon. I was so proud of myself because it worked great. But then when I put the little moon on it, it disappeared. It's wax. So it went away. And I had cards with just black on it. So I had to take that off and repaint. So these little paints we have here at the store, and they're all-purpose ink. This is number 80 white. And they run, right now they're $5.50. Who knows what they'll be when they come back in? You never know. And then you have this cute little paint stick that you can use to, where's my little, oh, right here, to paint. Okay, so I actually use the lid. When you shake it up, there's a little bit of ink in the lid. And then I just start from the inside of my circle and go out to get my burst. And this is great paint. It'll stay. And you have that little circle that you drew to give you an idea where you're going. So I go from the inside of the circle out. Now, I need to cut this out real quick. And cross your fingers. This is black batik. It's a tighter weave, so you're going to get a better edge on it, and it shouldn't ravel when you try to pull that little piece of paper off. Here's my little circle. I'm going to lay it on top here at this point and see how my white is going. I like that, but I'm going to put a little more white on it. Because when you see an eclipse, if you have not seen one, it's pretty spectacular. There, so I did a little more white. Anyway, the white around that moon is spectacular. It is white. Okay, that's going to work. And this dries pretty quick. Okay, take the paper off. All right. Lay it on there, on your ironing pad. And then with the tip of your iron, put it on. Then you can put the whole thing on there. This is not going to disappear. The white is going to stay. Boom. There we go. There's the postcard. Okay. Now I'm going to put the back on, or I can try drawing. Now this is upside down. I don't know if I can do it upside down. I put 2 little strips here. That's the path. That's totality within those black lines. Give or take 1,000 miles probably on the postcard. You can probably lay it on there a little bit better than me. So I actually made a teeny little template out of plastic. Okay? And I can lay it, if you can put a dot like on your postcard if you want to where totality is, but I'm going to pretend that this is where it is. It's just below the tip of Texas. Okay, I'm going to use my black pen, and these pens are really cool. I'm using my size 8 pigment pen. Here we go. And we carry these in the store too. So these are awesome. It's the fattest one. There's a size 3, which is really thin, a size 5, which is in between, and the size 8. We also have sets of them, which are size 5, and they come in colors. So I'm going to put my arc on here where I think it should be. And very carefully, I'm going to draw along the edge of that plastic. And I'm going to go out into the ocean, which is actually part of Canada over there. And then do it on the other side. You can run off the postcard if you want to. I'm not going to. Sorry, I'm going to hide that from you a little bit. And I would do these, if you're going to do like 20 of these, do them all at the same time, each step. Much easier. All right, there's my path in there. Got it? Now, Indianapolis, where I'm going to be, is, somewhere in there, give or take 1,000 miles. So I'm going to put a little dot here, pretend that's where it is, and I'm going to use my ruler. Any ruler will work. Right here. And I'm going to draw, I did the first one here out into the ocean, but I decided I had enough room in the United States, I could go the other direction. So I did on 2 of them, and I liked the other direction. So I'm just going to draw a line. Nice big line. And then I'll write Indianapolis there. That's where I'm going to be. Okay, the top of the postcard is done. So now you need a back. And we have these little stamp backs here at the store that look like this. That's what I'm going to use and make sure I put it on correctly. And it's cut 4 by 6, so it should fit right onto the back. Put it on there. Double check. Yes, it's right. If it was upside down, it's not that big a deal. Now, I plan on doing, because I'm actually going to be in Indianapolis, I'll probably take 60 of these postcards with me, filled out to go to everybody that I know. And I'm actually going to do something on the computer and then have it printed on muslin or whatever fabric and put that on the back so that all the writing's on the back of what it is. So it's documented. A first-class stamp goes here. It will go through the mail with a first-class stamp just like this, okay? If you put anything on here, any kind of embellishment, they're either going to throw it away or it's going to have to be hand canceled, and whoever it goes to will have to pay the postage, the extra postage that you needed. Totally up to you. Unless you put a return address, but I don't know if, I probably wouldn't do that. I would just do what the post office wants. Now I'm hoping when I get to Indianapolis that I can actually get the post office to hand cancel these. I don't know if I can. We'll see, because it happens to be a Monday and it's not a holiday, so it will be postmarked the day of the Eclipse. Wherever you are in the United States, if you are familiar with your postmaster, ask them, see if they'll do that for you. I don't know if the United States is going to do a stamp. They did the last time. They were very cool stamps. So the last, to finish this off, there's a few ways to finish it. I do a little satin stitch on mine. It takes a long time, but I'll show you how I start doing it. You might, it takes this one to do one of these postcards. It took me 5 minutes to go around it because I had to go around it twice. Okay, I should be all set here. My needle's in the down position, and I'm doing my zigzag stitch, and I pulled my zigzag all the way to the 5, not quite the width it could be. And I dropped the length of my stitch all the way down. I didn't take it down to 0. I don't think. It says 0, but I think there's one more. If I got rid of that, let's try that. Oh, it's not going to let me go any. Okay, I'm actually going to go up one then. Okay. You might have to go around it twice. I'm using, what is this thread? This is Aurifil. Aurifil is great thread. It's very strong, but it's very thin on purpose because you're using it for sewing and you want it thin. That should be down. Okay. And I'm just going to start this. I'm not going to finish it because it takes too long. Well, okay, so I'm sewing along here. Is it coming out the back? Okay, you can see that it didn't quite cover it. I will go around it twice so it gets a nice thick covering on it like this. All right? And if for some reason, I'm going to pull this out, you don't want to go around it a second time, it takes a lot of thread. So that's why I say do them all at the same time. Do all this at the same time. You can take a Sharpie and you can actually fill in those spots that didn't fill in with your Sharpie. Yes, it's cheating, but who cares, right? So you can do that if you want to do that. I'm just going to go around it a second time, but it will fill it in. Yep, so you can see it filled it in a little bit. But go around the whole entire thing, and that postcard is finished other than putting your where you're going to be on there, and it can go right in the mail, and you're done. So, any questions? Any questions? You can always text me, email me. Email me at jackie@stitchinpost.com, and I will answer your questions if you have any. Other than that, I hope you all take the opportunity to go see the eclipse. If you're within 200 miles of it, drive that 3 hours, go see it. It's a once in a lifetime. You've got to see it. Thank you.